Yo, mi gente, we got Subriel Matias putting Teofimo Lopez on notice and also explaining the situation on how that fight fell apart between him and Teofimo Lopez. Without further ado, let's get right into it, but I want to give a quick shout out to all my Don Mafia, you know what I'm saying, my Don Mafiosos. You already know what's up, welcome back to VIC SZN TV. But let me put you on the audio real quick.
He says he believes that Teofimo Lopez is a good.
Now again, this is the translator that just spoke on that speaking for him right now. Subriel Matias already said his part. Now the translator's gonna come in and translate what he said.
He says he believes that Teofimo Lopez is a good fighter. That whatever the reasons were for him not following through with the fight, actually fall upon on his manager and promoter. That he really doesn't get involved in that. But from his very humble standpoint, he was offered the highest purse of his career, and for him to face somebody unidimensional, as he said that Subriel was, and somebody that he actually said that he was going to knock out in less than 4 rounds, he still doesn't understand why he wouldn't take the fight. But, you know, he'll let it be, and it will come when it needs to come.
Right, and to add to that, Subriel has shown through his career, there's only one way to say yes and 99 ways to say no.
Damn! Shout out to the dude that said that. He said, there's only one way to say yes and 99 ways to say no. That was a good-ass quote right there, but that's basically just updating you guys with the whole situation because, you know, what is it? Good off from Fight Hype. Shout out to Fight Hype one time with this interview. The way he asked the question was, you know, Teofimo Lopez said it had a lot to do with it being in Vegas and not New York and whatnot. You know, the thing that I don't get about that is that shouldn't make or break the fight, right? And there was so much other things included to that I didn't really like so much. But I don't want to make this so much about, you know, Subriel and Teofimo Lopez. I just want to just add it back into the picture. So if or when Subriel Matias does win and does regain that title, it could make more sense, and there's no way possible that people could say he's not deserving of this shot, right? But in addition to that interview, one thing that I really liked about that interview was they asked him, do you enjoy or do you prefer to be feared in the sport of boxing? And you know how Subriel Matias answers? He says, listen, I don't want to be feared because being feared is counterproductive to making fights. When you're feared, fighters don't want to fight. So he said, I'd rather not be feared. I just want to welcome good fights. And I think that will overall, you know, make for great fights moving forward in my career. But he doesn't want to be feared whatsoever because obviously being feared hasn't been doing justice in his career. As you can see, he's been getting ducked a lot. A lot of people still bring up the time where they thought that he ducked Teofimo Lopez, which don't make sense because he was injured. And he got called out after he got injured, and he didn't duck the fight. He countered it with another date. He didn't counter even the money offer. He didn't counter the finances, nothing. He just countered the date. And we could make an argument that that was the first time Teofimo Lopez ducked because even though he wanted to stick to his February date, Teofimo Lopez, I get that. I won't call him a duck for that. But then they sent another offer. Eddie Hearn sent them another offer to Bob Arum and said, listen, how about we secure a fight after his fight with Ortiz? Let's make it mandatory. Let's make it now. Let's stamp it. Keep both fighters busy. They both win. They get a guaranteed fight. We could say he ducked that, Teofimo Lopez. So instead, he ended up going to the Steve Claggett route. My thing is, you know, I covered a lot about Teofimo Lopez because he had a lot to say. So obviously, what goes around comes around. A lot of people are going to have a lot to say as well. And it's boxing. So at the end of the day, good publicity and bad publicity is still publicity. It's still good. As long as we're still mentioning you, right? So in other words, I should be getting thank yous from a lot of motherfuckers that's still fan of his. But to, you know, kind of stick to the topic of this video, I like the fact that Subriel Matias is keeping that positive energy, coming back. I want to see more of him being on the media, but at the same time not overlooking his next opponent. Like he mentioned in the same interview, he says, I just have to keep on winning because they mentioned, you know, Devin Haney's name, Ryan Garcia's names, and a bunch of other names that's still within that weight class between 140, 147, and such. And he says, listen, I'm always going to be in the picture as long as I keep winning. All he has to do is keep winning. And once he keeps winning, those fighters are going to have to see him eventually. You know what I'm saying? He just got to keep winning. So we got to make that clear. And I'm glad that he understands that, because if you don't win, you've seen, if you was already getting ducked before, imagine after losing to Leon Perro, now people are going to have more of a reason to feel like they don't need to fight you. We already had Hitchens. Shout out to Hitchens for being Leon, where that Leon beat Subriel, and he beat Leon. So shout out to Hitchens. He does get a lot of credit for that. And now being an IBF World Champion, you know, round of applause to Hitchens. But he's already speaking on moving up to 147. You know, that being said, we'll have to see how this plays out. I do see Subriel Matias winning, but anything can happen. However, if he does win this fight against Goyas, that means he'll have the title shot for the IBF, and I could definitely see that title being vacated, where Hitchin moves up to 147, and he'll have to fight for a vacant title. And from there, after he's able to regain that title, the possible match, the fight between him and Teofimo Lopez is much more possible, where we might actually have Turkey involved in this fight too. You know, there's only so much a fighter could duck, right? And the craziest part is that Teo was in a position where he could have been the A side. Now, you know, there's a lot going on in the sport of boxing. We got Barbosa, who's now the mandatory challenger for the WBO title, which that's a title that Teofimo Lopez holds. Teofimo Lopez is going to have to defend it. If you don't defend it, guess what happens? He loses that WBO title, potentially could get in the way of his ring lineal championship, you know what I'm saying? And now he loses a lot of momentum and leverage in negotiations moving forward, because he no longer has those statuses. You understand? Don't call me a hater. I'm just telling you how it works. So if he loses the WBO title, he loses his status as the lineal champion, then he just becomes a top contender in the 140 division, where he might want to start moving up. But at that point, negotiations might just be going 50-50 or in the favor of Subriel if he does regain that IBF title. And then we might see a showdown between Barbosa, because he might vacate, and then Barbosa might have to fight for a vacant title. There's a lot that could take place in this, right? It's only a matter of time before, you know, all the pieces come together. We still got Rayo in that division. He'll be facing Gary Antoine Russell. It's looking very interesting. I guess it's only a matter of time till we actually get to see what happens and how everything unfolds. But if Subriel Matias could pull off this comeback, because he lost by decision, a lot of people are acting like he's getting treated. That's how you know he's feared. Because a person that lost by decision is getting treated like he got KO'd in the first round and he's totally irrelevant all of a sudden. They think that's the last time he fought. They don't even understand that he's coming off a 2-round knockout. They don't even understand that. They just so focus on that because those are excuses for them not having their favorite fighter compete against them, and even give him the fighter more of a reason not to want to fight him. But now we're at a different time. Let's see how things play out. It's only a matter of time till we see everything unfold. And I think that 140 division is going to start looking a lot more interesting, because now these fighters are going to have to be forced to fight each other. Without further ado, you already know what's up. I'm going to let y'all go. Thank y'all for tuning in. My Don Mafia, you already know what's up. It's your one and only Mr. Don Mafioso himself, VIC SZN TV, and we out. Toma!